Okay, this is the lead single from Drake's third album, and it's obvious that he's no longer trying. I mean, listen to this.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here.
Oh, a song about how you're rich. We know, Drake. You know that we know. You made a song about the fact that you know that we know.
I ain't even gotta say it, they know. They know, they know, they know.
But yeah, since apparently no one's tired of Drake sounding like he's tired, here comes another song about how he's made it, and how the haters keep hating, and how his team is awesome, and, you know, this song's boring. And if I just talk about how boring the song is, this review is gonna be boring. Because honestly, there's really not a lot to say about this, and the monotony of his flow in the verses and how it sounds exactly the same as the chorus doesn't help, especially when there are only 11 words in it.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team fucking here.
In fact, the verses and the choruses are actually pretty short, but the expressionless flow is repeated so much, the song ends up sounding a lot longer than it actually is, and it's a bit of a chore to get through.
Boys tell stories about the man. Say I never struggled, wasn't hungry, yeah, I got it, nigga. I could turn your boy into the man.
Like, dude, this sounds like something you threw together to hold the fans over until you actually had time to sit down and write something, not the lead single to your friggin' album. So, instead of doing a straight review of this song, I wanted to do a comparison piece, and I'm gonna try to make a point with this. Okay, so what is this song about? It's about how his life used to be terrible, but now it's awesome because of his rap career. You know who also made a song like that? Biggie Smalls. Now, no one is arguing that Drake is better than Notorious B.I.G. In fact, I'd like to give enough credit to Drake by believing that even he doesn't think that. But I wanted to use Biggie's song Juicy in comparison to this song Started from the Bottom to show you why I believe this song is lacking, and how that lack of lyrical content changes how I view a song that tackles a topic, specifically one as common in rap as this. Now let's start with the intro of Started from the Bottom.
Started from the...
Which sounds like Drake wanted to start the song, but then his producer cut him off and said, "No, my name has to be at the start. This is my beat, and I want people to know." Once again, you don't see producers from back in the day doing stuff like that.
Each time the wind blows, I hear your voice so...
Yeah, Quincy Jones produced this track. Look, to all producers out there, we don't care. We are not listening to the song because we like you, which is kind of funny because most people only like the beats, but regardless, that doesn't mean we ultimately care about you. We care about the main guy rapping. Oddly enough though, for the beginning of Juicy, this is one of the few times where P. Diddy doesn't talk all over the intro.
Fuck all you hoes. Get a grip, motherfucker.
Although, I'm not 100% sure what that part relates to. Even on the Ready to Die album, there's nothing prior to what he says that gives context to what he's saying. He's just kinda angry at someone. But then he says,
"This album is dedicated to all the teachers that told me I never amount to nothing."
So already we have context for Biggie. Not just the song, but his whole album is intended to offend all those who saw him as worthless and good for nothing. Already we have a stronger inclination for what's happening. With Drake, on the other hand...
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
My friends and I were broke, but now we're not. My friends and I were broke, but now we're not. My friends and I were broke, but now we're not. To me, it's way too simple and blunt with its presentation. Now compare that to the chorus for Juicy.
And if you don't know, now you know.
Which reappropriates the chorus of Matume's Juicy Fruit to act as encouragement for the rapper. It sounds really kind and caring, and works as a chorus that can be sung by someone who's still going through the struggle that Biggie went through.
And if you don't know, now you know.
You know, now that I think about it, I think they just went with this chorus because of those first two lines. Because these lines just kind of seem like they didn't know how to rearrange the rest of the lyrics from the sample to make it make sense, but it was already too late to change the chorus to something else, so they just kind of kept it. But anyways, let's get into the meat of why Started from the Bottom doesn't work. Context, context, context. In Juicy, Biggie tells us that the current life he's living used to be nothing more than an unattainable fantasy, something that only his favorite rappers would live, and that he looked up to these rappers and was a huge fan.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, rap attack Mr. Magic Molly Mall. I let my tape rock till my tape pop.
In Started from the Bottom, we get no indication of passion or even a slight affinity for rap music, so the success that he gets related to rap music holds no real value. In fact, I don't...
From the bottom, now the whole team's freaking here. Oh my gosh!
Oh wow, didn't this happen the last time I reviewed a song by Drake?
They bring dinner to my room and ask me to initial.
Today's an important day. We have a championship game against...
Well, at least they figured out how bad an actor Drake really is and had the intelligence to completely cut him out of this scene. Wait, who directed this music video? Oh, well, I admire your honesty. But like I was saying, very little in this song gives us much background, and any that does feels ultimately inconsequential.
Living at my mama's house, we'd argue every month, nigga.
Oh no, not disagreeing with your parents, aka that thing that all teenagers do. I mean, maybe there's more to that story. Maybe there were serious disagreements that he had with his mom. But you know why I don't care? Because he doesn't tell me about them. Now over here in Juicy, Biggie speaks of complete poverty.
Born sinner, the opposite of a winner. Remember when I used to eat sardines for dinner? We used to fuss when the landlord dissed us. No heat, wonder why Christmas missed us.
I can comprehend that. I can visualize and understand that. I can feel the despair of that situation. What hardships does Drake speak about in his song?
I was trying to get it on my own. Working all night, traffic on the way home.
Oh no, not working night shifts at a grocery store, as this video seems to indicate, and encountering traffic on the way home? Anything but that! What I'm trying to say is nothing here really sticks to you. Any details on his life that could give context to his words, you'd have to look up to find out about. Thing is, I shouldn't have to look up your life story to figure out what you're trying to express. That's what the words in the song are for.
We don't like to do too much explaining.
That's the problem. Sure, there's always extra meaning that can be derived from a song if you know more about the artist's personal life, but I shouldn't have to already know your life story in order to understand the song.
Story stay the same, I never changed it.
But see, you never told us a story. I mean, sure, when it comes to topics about girls, you spill your heart out. And I'm sure all the strippers you've written those songs about really appreciate that. But whenever it comes to getting into your life and your success, there should be something strong to make me understand your obstacles so that your victory becomes that much more enjoyable. But when I hear this...
Just as a reminder to myself, I wear every single chain even when I'm in the house.
Which doesn't even rhyme. When I hear this, I don't think, wow, I respect this guy's hustle. I think, well, if it's all about money and nothing else, why doesn't Warren Buffett have a rapping career? I'm fairly sure one of the richest men in the world knows more about having money than Drake does. Now, contrast that to Biggie Smalls once again. He talks about how the good life never seemed like a reality to him because the way he lived never gave credence to the idea that it was even possible.
I never thought it could happen, this rapping stuff. I was too used to packing gats and stuff. Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. When I was dead broke, man, I couldn't picture this.
He talks about how he was never attractive to some girls, but now that he's famous, those same girls are all of a sudden into him.
Girls used to diss me, now they write letters cause they miss me.
There's even death to be pulled out of a line as simple as this.
Birthdays was the worst days, now we sip champagne when we thirsty.
Think about that for a second. As a kid, on the day when you're supposed to feel special, he was crestfallen due to his poverty. But now, when the slightest pang of difficulty comes into his life, he has the finest solutions to his problems. And here's one of my favorite lines, which is simple but poignant.
Living life without fear.
Just the comfort of knowing that he doesn't have to be afraid of being one paycheck away from destitution gives validation behind the song, gives it meaning and depth. I, as a listener, am invested into the persona that has been presented in this song. What do I have to be invested in emotionally with Started at the Bottom? What, am I supposed to be happy that you're a self-righteous douchebag who flaunts his wealth in a time where the unemployment rate is in the double digits? Well, congratulations. But I don't care. And you know what? I might have cared. If there was any punchline, any joke, any clever play on words, or indication of humor or lightheartedness about the topic, I really would give you points for that. I always give points to someone who's a douchebag, but at least can be funny about it. But when all you have is a repetitive drone about how great it is to be you, I'm unable to generate a response beyond, okay. There's a lot of talk about how Drake really didn't struggle in his life and that he was a spoiled rich kid, and since he was on a TV show that means he's fake and never really went through hard times in his life. And to be honest, I don't agree with that. I do feel that he has gone through struggles in his life. They may not be the exact archetypal struggles that are typical of the hip-hop culture, but as a rapper, I believe that he does have a story to tell. For a closer example from a rapper who's not going the gangster rap route with their music, look at Childish Gambino's song Hold You Down on his latest album, Camp.
Culture shock in barbershops, cause I ain't hood enough. We all look the same to the cops. Ain't that good enough? This one kid said something that was really bad. He said I wasn't really black because I had a dad. I think that's kinda sad, mostly cause a lot of black kids think they should agree with that.
You see, I understand what's happening in his life. I get his story. The problem with Started from the Bottom is that he doesn't tell a story. He gives us surface skimming details and rallies off weak as water brag raps. And when you can't give us any account of real pain in your past in your music, especially when that's kind of how most people are gonna know you, yeah, I completely understand why people say what they say. And this song sounds like an embarrassingly ineffective way to respond to naysayers. If all you have are vague descriptions of conflict, I can only assume that your inability to elaborate stems from the fact that you had no conflicts.
Say I never struggled, wasn't hungry, yeah, I got it, nigga.
Well, how did you struggle? You just had a venue to discuss it, we listened, and you said nothing beyond, I totally struggled, just trust me. Overall, this gets a 0 out of 5 from me. It's boring, did I mention repetitive, and uninspired. Drake knows he doesn't have to try anymore, and he's exploiting that fact. And for those who are gonna ask, of course I give Juicy a 5 out of 5. And those ratings aren't to hyperbolically exaggerate a contrast. Started from the Bottom lacks everything that makes this type of song good, and Juicy, in my opinion, has all of those things to a T. I really hope that fans of Drake that bothered to watch all the way through understand my disappointment with him, because I do feel like he has potential to be a truly great artist, but with the path he's going right now, it feels like he's squandering it with mediocrity. Well, that's what I have to say about that. I'm the Rap Critic. You don't have to like my opinion, but I don't have to like your song.
Listening, the sky is the limit on my walk, man. Thinking if Biggie can make it through it, man, then I can.